Hey guys, it's Lesley Oman here from Hungry Happy Crafts. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I feel it. Yay! Autumn is here. I am so excited. I love autumn. It is most definitely my favorite season, and I am celebrating the arrival of autumn with this cute little card which I'm sharing with you guys today. For my birthday I got some new stamp sets. I've got the Forest Friends set from My Favorite Things, and also the Jump for Joy set from Fawn, which features some really cute little critters and lots of leaves and things, perfect for creating an autumn card. So to start off with today, I'm using some distress cardstock here, and I've cut out 2 panels using this stitched rectangle die from Fawn, and then on one of these panels I've ran it through the Cuttlebug again with some stitched border dies so that I can have a top and bottom section for my card which has this beautiful stitching on it. And I'm going to actually tuck a little hillside in here, so to cut that out I use this simple stitched hillside border die from Fawn. I'm moving over to my stamping now, and I'm mixing and matching my stamps from the Forest Friends stamp set and the Jump for Joy stamp set. I'm stamping these with Memento Tuxedo black ink onto some Nina Solar White cardstock because I am going to be using some Copic markers today. I'm just going to cut this out so it's a bit more manageable for colouring in. And it's been a while since I shared my Copic colouring with you guys, so I thought that I would include it in today's video. So I went through my Copic stash and just pulled out some colours that I thought would work quite well for an autumn themed card. I didn't really think too much about colouring in each of these elements. I knew that for the leaves I wanted some brown, some green, some red, some orange, all those really beautiful earthy tones that you see when you go for a little autumn walk. So very quickly I'm adding colour randomly with each of my markers and going back and forth and really mixing it up. So sometimes I'm adding green and red, sometimes green and the yellow colour, and I'm just blending them out. I have put the names or the numbers of the colours that I'm using today just at the top of the screen there, so you can see exactly the ones that I used to create this scene today. And I stamped lots. You can see here I stamped lots and lots of that cute little skinny leaf. That's from the Forest Friends set. I didn't actually use all of them in the end, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough because I wasn't sure at this point what way the card would turn out. That's usually the way it goes for me. So I have the dies for the Jump for Joy set, but I don't have any dies for the Forest Friends set, so I just fussy cut out these images here. It doesn't take too long. They're really simple to cut out, which is really nice. And now I have all my bits already. I can move over to creating the scene and working on colouring the background. Now I decided that I wanted to add a greeting, and I'm going to use the Cali Letter stamp set from Mama Elephant. And I wanted the greeting to read, "Yippee, fall is here." So the yippee, I've stamped it onto some scratch cardstock just so I can make sure that it's going to fit, and I have a visual here. And I'm going to use my Misty so that I can be sure that I'm going to line it up at least roughly where I want it to be. So I'm putting the last letter on top of my stamped piece of card, and then I can just flip that card up. I've used some washi tape to act as a hinge there, you can see. So I can flip that up and stamp my letter E using some Versamark ink, and I'm going to heat emboss that with some white embossing powder. Now I can work my way backwards. I find this is the easiest way whenever I'm stamping on letter by letter. And it does take a little bit of time, yes, but it's definitely worth it in the end. So in one of the stamp sets that I'm using today, there was a greeting that says "Fall is here." That's from the Fawn set. So I'm putting that underneath the word yippee. Now for the rest of my card, I'm adding some ink using some distress inks here. I've got shabby shutters and tea dye, and I'm also adding a little bit of a darker brown colour as well. And for the background, I want to focus more on yellowy golden tones with a little bit of red coming from the top. So the grass is going to be green brown, and then the sky or the background is going to have that lovely orangey feel to it. So I'm blending this in horizontal stripes, and I want the top to be a bit darker so the white embossing powder will really pop. I'm adding just a little bit of red to the very top here. And I wanted the top edge of my grass to be a bit darker. So let's add some walnut stain on there. So let's stick my grass in place. I want to make sure that it's exactly in the right area. I'm just going to stick it about here. And then for my trees, I just decided that they were a little bit too bright. It didn't have the same tonal value as the rest of my card. So I took some of a light brown colour and went over some of the trees and parts. My top and bottom panel I'm raising up with a little bit of foam adhesive, and for the little pile of leaves it's going to go right underneath my grating here, and I want some of my elements overhanging the edge, and I'll just trim off the excess bits. This little foxy will go over here between the two trees, and then all those leaves that I coloured in, I'm going to scatter them over the card to give the idea of falling leaves and the wind blowing all the leaves off the tree. I'm going to have one of them actually that is raised up just right next to Mr. Foxy here, just to have a little bit of dimension. So all I need to do now is trim off any bits that's overhanging the edge and finish off with some glaze pin on Mr. Foxy. And then that's my top panel done. All I need to do now is mount that on top of a note card. There we go. Thanks very much for watching the video today. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. And you can always visit me over at hungryhappycrafts.com to see more of my projects. Have a crafty day, my little friends. Cheerio!